Hey, we're Derek and Christy Collins of Wildbridge Films and the makers of Then Sings My Soul. And we're so excited right now to share a little bit of the process of how this film came to be.
The original idea for this film started back in 2011. I was working at a missions office and I was interacting with a lot of people who were believers in different countries, and they just exemplified to me this beautiful dynamic with God where they experienced so much joy even though their lives were so hard circumstantially. And interacting with them made me want to go be with them. Like, I wanted to go live near them and observe their life and just hear their hearts and kind of bring some of that back with me to live in my own culture. And I shared my desires with a friend, and we felt like we got to put a team together, and wouldn't it be so great to also capture some kind of video and film so that the experience wouldn't be just for us, but it would also be shared for others to actually benefit from. And through that process, around the same time, Derek also came into my life through a friend's wedding we met at. And there's like 6 of us talking about potentially going in summer 2012. And that was just not the timing. A lot of people weren't able to go, and it was really hard for me to adjust to that. But it was the first of many instances like that where I would learn that if this is God's thing, where He's trying to reveal His heart and Himself, and it's not just my passion project, then it needs to happen His way. Derek and I started dating, and we got married, and then the desire to go was still there for both of us. We were also thinking, like, gonna wait to have any children because traveling overseas to different countries with an infant is like crazy. But it's like, even in making that decision, we felt like the Lord correct us and say, no, I want you to be open to children. And River came out of that. We left when he was 4 months, and he was with us and grew that whole time, and all of his firsts were overseas in these different cultures and communities. And looking back, it's like so clear he had such a purpose in going. But he's just a testimony of like the way that God works is so different than what we would plan or think would be a good idea. But His ways are so much higher. Even the theme of the film was something that, I thought this film was going to be about people enduring persecution. And one day we were just like having time of worship in Kenya, and I just felt like the Lord speaking, like, this film is about me, it's about my beauty, and it's about my love and pursuit of my people and how they respond. And so from the theme to the timing to who would be on this trip to who would be in the film, so many things we kind of step forward in faith on, and then the Lord would kind of like clarify, no, this is what I see and want. And yeah, that process continued on.
The objective of this film has always been that it might be an encouragement to the Western Church, and being able to share the constancy of the Holy Spirit in these different cultures with their varied looks and feels and paces of life, and yet just that presence of the Spirit and how alike we are in so many ways. So we started in Kenya, then Haiti, Mexico, and wrapped up in India. But the idea was that we would spend 2 months in each place, and along the way we were doing video work for ministries or organizations in each place, kind of in exchange for staying there and being able to offer that. And we were looking for a person to kind of focus on, to be a part of this larger Then Sings My Soul. A lot of times we kind of had our eye on someone, and then it would shift to no, this is the person. We would spend a month kind of just getting to know people. And then in the second month is when we would actually take out a video camera And that is basically how kind of our process of making this. And I mean, there's no script. It is this melding together of people's real lives with these raw interviews. And the interviews, we did realize very early on that we wanted to just capture raw audio interviews and not set up a camera. So even us talking to a camera, it's like, it's hard to like fully be yourself when a camera's pointed at you.
Yeah.
And that aspect of truly letting the recording quality just fall away. And we just had a conversation with each of these people, with Pews, with Eve Rose, with Eunice, and with Rochelle. That's, I think, a very bold choice in the sense of being able to put together a film, because we know we have to cover all.
Right.
We have no shots of the people talking. We have just the footage of their lives to work with. I would never recommend making a film or setting out to produce a film like this in the way that we did, except that the Spirit was leading it, and we really felt that.
I don't want to stop anybody.
And at the end of the 8 months' time, we returned to the States with all this beautiful footage, and it was time to get to editing. And Richmond, Virginia had been on our hearts to potentially move to in the future, but it was really actually overseas that we realized that no, once we return to the States, it was time to just come straight here.
The city has a lot of history in our nation, and we feel called to tell some of those stories and just pour ourselves into this community. So we joined a church called East End Fellowship and started gathering with believers, going to house church, and just figuring out what our life looks like. And it was in that context that we were working on our film. Like, we were trying to figure out, where do we buy groceries now, and where are we going to live, and how it does work for us. And it's included things like the joy of the birth of our second son, August. And yeah, even up until very recently, right after premiering the film, suffering our second miscarriage. It's just, yeah, like, we're human people. And this film was edited and storyboarded and collaged and all of that stuff in the midst of our very real lives. And that has been like a 2-year process. And that's how this film was made.
Yeah, on the one hand, a very, very small crew putting this together, and yet also a lot of people that helped us make it happen.
God brought so many people together, people from Denver and West Palm Beach and St. Joe, where our families live, just praying about it and encouraging us and supporting us and sending us out. All those different organizations that have partnered with us to let us even have access to people, to get to know them. Like, that was huge. Coming back to this community, like, holding this gift, we were totally embraced. People offered to take our kids so we could work on it, and people prayed over it and prayed over us. And our dear friend Haya Braxton did an amazing job giving us feedback on the initial pass of the story, and we were able to reorder things in a way that made so much more sense. And through our gathering at East End, we met Orlando Palmer, who composed the film, and it was just perfect to work with him. He's an amazing musician, but he also creates from a very authentic place. The music that he created is crucial in your experience of the film. It allows you to journey from place to place and get to know each person. Like, he created specific songs for each of the characters. He also collaborated with Aaron Rose to create an original rendition of the opening song for the film, How Great Thou Art. And she truly sang like her soul was singing. The film was color graded by Dan McCullum, a dear friend of Derek's, an amazing colorist. Like, this film looks gorgeous, and we never would have had a shot at making it look the way that Dan made it look. And yeah, so from the time that we first got back and all these different pieces were put together to the time that it even came time to premiere the film and share it with our church first, we were just completely welcomed and celebrated, and people gathered to experience it. And Eve Rose from Haiti and her husband Pierre were actually able to come and be here for that. And a sweet couple from our church, Leslie and Boyd, hosted them, and the whole experience from the beginning of this, when it was first an idea, to finally delivering it, was completely filled with people.
We'd like to especially thank our parents who have supported us. We love you so much, and thanks to everyone in all the ways, from prayer support to financial support to the post-production process. We couldn't have done it without you.
Thank you.